wrong body can get a sex change operation paid for by the state, and they can do it without their parents' consent.
The child is not ready to make those adult decisions. I'm a public school teacher, and I can't even give a child a cough drop or an aspirin without permission. They can't go on a field trip without permission.
We know that they do very well when they receive the services, just like we know that youth who need a kidney transplant do very well when they get a transplant. Youth who have diabetes do very well when they get insulin.
Our power panel is in to talk about this topic. I'm joined by Nick Adams, political and cultural commentator, Gene Marks, CPA and business columnist, and psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bober, who happens to have treated some of these kinds of patients. So I want to start with you. Is 15 the right age to be able to do this kind of life-changing surgery without parental consent?
No. These are very, very, very rare cases, but these are tormented souls. They have higher risks of substance abuse, suicide, they drop out of school. They require evaluation by a multidisciplinary team of experts in consultation with their parents. They simply do not have the capacities to make these types of decisions without discussing it with their parents and with a lot of people. Because this surgery is so radical and irreversible, it really needs to be done very thoughtfully and with great restraint.
You know, Gene, we just heard a school teacher say, look, I can't even give an aspirin to my kid without calling the parent. And as a parent, I know that that's true. Yeah. So this seems a little disproportionate, doesn't it?
It's a little crazy. I mean, look, Gretchen, I have 3 kids that are all 20 years old. They're all in college here. And I'm telling you, all 3 of them, sometimes they forget to put their shoes on before they go outside, right, during the winter. So the thought that this would actually be like a decision that you would leave up to a 15-year-old child, and it's a huge, huge decision. I don't even know what the right age would be to do. I don't even know if I'm old enough to make that decision.
Okay,
so
Nick, are you going to agree with the two of them?
Absolutely, Gretchen. I mean, it's madness. It's crazy. Yeah, the people there in Oregon, they clearly think that they're onto something. I think that they're just on something. The reality is that, put the medical condition aside, there's really 2 problems here. One is the state-funded nature of this, and the second is that this is an attack on the family. This is the government putting a wedge between children and their parents. America's founders would be rolling in their graves.
Okay, let's move on to a happier topic, which is the U.S. women's soccer team returning to America as World Cup winners. City of New York holding a big parade for the conquering heroines today. First time ever a women's team has received this kind of an honor. Well, there's a little rain on their parade. The team will only collect about $2 million from FIFA. That pales in comparison to what the male team makes, even when they lose in the first round. So, guys, what do you think about this? Nick, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, Gretchen, look, when I think of soccer, I don't associate it with women. And I think it's a commercial reality. I just don't.
Were you not watching Sunday night?
Look, volleyball. Let's talk about volleyball.
What?
I like women's volleyball. I'm not really into men's volleyball. Women's volleyball is far more popular. Men's volleyball died with Top Gun and Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise.
Nick comes from a country where, like, cricket is the biggest sport, right? So I'm not really sure.
Well, that's true. But, look, I just think it's a commercial reality. I'm really sorry, but I can't name one famous soccer female player, but I can name dozens when it comes to the men's side. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but the men don't win, Gene.
No.
And what's very upsetting about this is this parade apparently cost $2 million. New York paid for $1.5 million of it because they couldn't get corporate sponsors to come in and help pay for it. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, look, I come from a soccer family, and I mean, your daughter plays soccer as well. So you can see the rise in popularity among girls. Somebody at Nike is going to have their you-know-what handed to them, because with all the dollars that these companies have, with all the marketing research that they have, they still really blew it. How did they not know that this was going to be as popular as it was going to be? I just think it was a giant screw-up by somebody that was sponsoring this.
From a psychiatrist's point of view, what kind of emotional ramification does this have at all on young people who might look at this information and say, oh, girls aren't as worthy?
I think there's so many disparities in society today between men and women not, withstanding equal pay. I think it sends the wrong message, and I do think it's somewhat demoralizing for people of the female sex that they can't get this money to celebrate women. It's disappointing.
But they still had a huge parade today. Hats off to them for winning.
It will change.
Okay. Well, we'll end on the good news. Gentlemen, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Treasury Department saying that Alexander Hamilton, speaking of guys, about to have to move over and make room for a woman on the $10 bill. What